Welcome to the Art for Wellness podcast. I'm Danielle Beck, and in this space you're invited to take a seat in my studio and get into real eye-opening, empowering and refreshing conversations about getting started as an artist in business and all the things that come with it. In each episode we explore and navigate through the magical world of art business and challenge the idea of falling into the hustle mentality trap. We provide you the strategies, systems and actionable steps needed to find true fulfillment that becoming an entrepreneur brings. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur or one in the making who's looking to create a business that makes an impact and helps you create a life you love, you're in the right place. Let's get to it. Have you ever wondered, how do I overcome barriers associated with getting seen and showing up as an artist? Have you ever wanted to get more comfortable doing video and audio content, or when selling in person online? If you're anything like I was, you may have even watched others and you think they're amazing, but you feel like you can't do it at first. The main reason for this is fear, but hear me out, you have to start somewhere. Our fear and our limiting beliefs are a huge barrier that prevents us from moving forward with starting and growing as an entrepreneur or creative business owner, which is why I've invited someone special onto the podcast to help us all kick fear and trauma to the curb, to show us how to step out of our comfort zone and show up with more confidence. Her name is Naomi Brown. Naomi is a business management and development consultant, transformative mindset and confidence coach, speaker and soon to be author, passionate about using her voice and experience to help you find your perfect harmony. She launched Harmony Business and Life Solutions last August with two goals in mind, and that was to enable others to overcome their limiting beliefs, albeit personally and professionally, and to support and guide them to become the fullest versions of themselves in doing so. Naomi wanted to create something that would support all areas of a person's life: their trauma, their pain, their fears, their goals, their career, them as a whole, and that's just what she does through love and dedication to everyone she meets. Naomi was published in Yahoo Finance as a top 5 coach to watch out for in 2021. So grab a pen and paper if you want to follow along. These are the steps you can implement right away to show up big this year. I can't wait for you to meet my friend Naomi. Hey Naomi, how are you doing today?
Hello Danielle, I'm very well, darling. How are you today? Are you good, I hope?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. I'm so happy to have you on here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making the time for us. Before we started recording,
Absolutely.
Obviously, you made a live video in our Women in Business network group, didn't you? And you were talking about mindset and your story, and this kind of like made me drawn to reach out to you. This is definitely something the world needs to hear a bit more of. And it's validating for me because I was working on confidence just to make myself sane, growing up like being bullied and having mental health challenges. So I struggled a lot with kind of like approaching video content, sharing about myself online, and as a business owner, I was extremely anxious. So it's really nice to be able to give others that permission to do that. So yeah, I'd like you to share like a little bit about your story with us and my listeners before we kind of dive into the process, so that they can understand how you got to where you are today. Does that sound good?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Danielle. So myself in a nutshell. So I am Naomi. I am a company director, lead business consultant and transformative mindset and confidence coach. And the last one is the one that I really enjoy day to day in my business. I feel through my own personal experience from the University of Hard Knocks of Life and my experience from working many years in the health and social care sector with various types and services of people. My practice towards my clients is one that's always heartfelt and client-centered. And when I say my own personal experiences, I've had a life, shall we say, of repetitive trauma in relation to domestic violence and mental health. And what I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about today in resilience is this model of resilience is something that's really helped pull me through. But my story into my coaching and my practice began 2 years ago when I'd had enough. I was severely unwell mentally. I didn't have a clue where my purpose was. I didn't have a clue where I needed to go in life. And it wasn't until, you know, sometimes we have to have a monumental breakdown in order to, you know, break away from things, that we're only kind of then able to move forward, Danielle. So the last 2 years have been an absolute whirlwind within the business, but myself and my member of staff, we are very proud to support our clients from all walks of life, personally and professionally, you know, in limiting beliefs, and when it comes to kind of setting goal management and a strategy to achieve these things.
Yeah, that's amazing. I believe that 90% of our success as entrepreneurs, whether it's artists or not, just normal business owners, it's not just down to strategy and planning, but it's also down to mindset as well. And I mean, it's like a huge part of it. And that's why
Absolutely.
that's why I wanted to have you on the show today, because you teach women how to boost confidence, and that's your expertise. So you've got this process to help people, and I love a process, you know.
Absolutely.
When I heard that, like, you had a process for it, I like, because I know I've struggled with confidence from day one, so I thought, we've got to dive into it. We've got to do it. So what is your care process, care model process?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it's really important, before just diving in there quickly, resilience is the difference between, you know, getting through and achieving and going for glory, than, you know, falling over in the dirt and just calling it a day and quitting. And it's, you know, in our toolbox of personal development and, you know, in coaching, resilience is the one that we should support our clients in, whatever, you know, niche it is that we're in, so they're able to bounce back, and, you know, so they're able to reflect in a way that's not negative for them, but it's one that's engaging. And the resilience care model that I created was based around that. You know, how can we really bring it back to ourselves when we're trying to get ahead? Because when we're trying to get ahead and, you know, we have things going on and we don't feel that we're succeeding, what we tend to do is give a lot of our energy outward. We give a lot of our energy to, you know, what other people are doing. We start comparing ourselves, and when we compare ourselves, we then pull ourselves into a negative state, and then we find ourselves on the loop of self-sabotage.
Right.
So when we start to look within, we are then able to develop a more positive, affluent approach to our own development around resilience.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, especially when you're comparing yourself to others, like, I found like the best way to like go through that is to kind of compare yourself to yourself yesterday. Focus on your progress rather than other people's, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think, you know, it can be very hard to do. And, you know, sometimes we are programmed, you know, from influences outside us, again, to always focus on, you know, positivity and being positive. But unless we are to truly venture into, you know, the shadows, you know, when I say shadow of ourselves, you know, looking at the dark things in our life that, you know, cause us this pain and anxiety, and look at that kind of subjectively with resilience, we're then able to start kind of looking at better solutions to move forward, because we're looking from within. And the resilience care model is a really great, easy tool for people to use, like day to day. You know, your clients can use it when they're feeling perhaps a little bit deflated. That, you know, resilience will be our best friend, you know, when it comes to achieving something. So do you want me to explain a little bit more about the model and how it kind of works and how people can apply it?
Yeah, definitely. Tell us more. Tell us the details.
Okay, so when we say care model, it isn't spelled as in CARE, it's spelled CAARREE. So it's like a care. So essentially, you know, these areas stand for compassion, awareness of achievements, rest and reflection, and empower and evaluate. So we'll go into these a little bit more in detail, for you guys to use at home, you know, and to really bring yourself back when you're looking to ground yourself, or when you're just feeling that you can't do something, because let me tell you, you can, you really, really can. So the first element, we're going to look at compassion. So how often have you done something and, you know, you've maybe not had the desired result, or the expectations led you to heartbreak? It happens all the time, right?
100%. I get that so much with my own business. I look at things and I'm like, this isn't panning out how I was hoping it.
Exactly, right? Like, we turn in our way and we start attacking ourselves. So we believe that we're absolutely poop in everything that we do, and we're never going to amount to anything, and we're never going to achieve it. And it's funny because when other people are going through their poop, we look at them with compassion, don't we? We give them love, we nurture them, we offer them all that help. Yeah. So when we flip that on our head and we look at compassion for ourselves, we are human, the same as what other people are. And we give that people so much free love and nurturing. We need to turn that back around in ourselves. So, when something's not going so great, it's easy for me to say, oh, don't be so hard on yourself. But, look at it from, failing isn't, that's it, it's done, it's dead. It's giving you another opportunity to find a different perspective to try again. And that can only start with compassion.
Wow.
So there,
taking ownership of your failures and choosing to move forward, isn't it? Rather than staying stuck.
Like, when I'm going back to when this journey of self-employment and adventure began, I had been in an abusive relationship for 4 years. So something which I had taken the victim approach, and why did this happen to me? And it's so shameful. And, I licked my wounds for a long time. And, I had to then flip that, through help and support of, what, this wasn't my fault, but me staying in a state of thinking that it is becoming my fault and my choice to stay there. And what, by looking and saying to myself, that was a really shitty experience and you really hurt, but it's okay, you're human and you've got through it, and now you're using that pain for power to help other people. That has really kind of re-enhanced the compassion for myself. So then we look at our awareness of achievements. It's easy when we're in the funk and the storm of something not going right, or something, momentous happening to us, to completely forget how absolutely spectacular you are. Like, I sometimes get some of my clients to write down, on a bit of paper, every achievement they have ever done, from primary school right through to present day, whether it was they got that medal in the brownies, for their, or for getting all their badges, or they, you wrote an amazing essay, or you got promoted. Write that stuff down. That's the stuff that makes you, that actually has shaped you to be this wonderful human that you are. And I can tell you, when we're self-sabotaging, we forget about all of that. So yeah,
you've just got to celebrate all the good things that have happened. Like, maybe that's another letter that we could add into it. See, celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely. So compassion and celebration. But yeah, being aware of our achievements, it really helps bring it into that present moment, that what we're doing and what we're going through isn't that as bad as thinking we have nothing in our life. It's just a bump in the road in our momentous story. And we'll fix it and we'll bring it back around. But it's so important when we feel like that we center ourselves to remember just how much you've achieved in life, and how much more you're going to achieve in life.
Definitely. Like, you can't not think about all the wonderful things that you've created for yourself. And even just writing it out on a sheet of paper, right? That, for me, like, I journal, and it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? When you get something out onto paper, it just gives it that bit of, like, this is real. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Like, I call it the brain dump. So I use a voice, like a voice recorder on my phone, and I keep it like a vocal journey. And sometimes I listen back and I'm like, what the hell were you even speaking about there? Like, and it helps jog my memory to think, it's not all as bad as it seems in that present moment. And it can feel really bad in that present moment, but and I think it's really important. This is where the next part of the model comes in, is that rest and reflection. How many times, like, I don't know about you, Danielle, but when I'm on something's not gone right, I then throw myself into more work, more distraction, more thing to try and validate how I'm feeling about something. And I know that that's just self-sabotaging and then burning the candle, not at both ends, but in the middle as well. So resting, when we rest, and there's something we really don't do enough of. When we rest, whether that's taking ourselves for a walk or a lie down, or a hot bath and a facial, we allow ourselves time to de-stress and stop thinking and at a million miles per hour. We start to become more present, and when we become more present, we're then able to reflect. We're able to reflect, why did that not work for us? What can I do to improve the situation, rather than being on this state of absolute urgency and panic, where we're not able to think logically or methodically.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like, whether it's self-care or whether it's treating yourself or rewarding yourself to something that you want to do, or something that you like, I think that's such an important part, isn't it? Because it
Absolutely.
not only it's good for your well-being, but it actually gives you motivation to kind of keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'm getting better at rest, because I honestly sometimes think, if you could have a clone and the clone could do everything else off the back of you, it'd be great. But when the end of the day, we're only human. We're one person, and we can only be the best version of ourselves when we find balance and rest, and actually doing things. And it goes back to what you said about mindset, doesn't it? Having a positive mindset can only come from being the best, healthiest version of ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Separating like work-life balance is a huge thing as well, I think, with that. Scheduling the times that you want to put into your business, or whether it's your art or your business, it's kind of distinguishing your work from your rest, making that a solid line in between.
Absolutely, 100%. And again, we could go completely off topic with the model that having boundaries around rest and health and things, but maybe that's a conversation for another day. But finally,
maybe in another podcast episode.
maybe. But then finally, we have our last part of the model, and that is empower and evaluate. So what do I mean by empower? So, this situation, we can use it to see stress and worry, doom and gloom, and, we're essentially rubbish and we cannot achieve what we set out to do. Or we can use it to empower us and, say, okay, the way that I initially anticipated this has not gone to plan. So therefore, it's now I bring it back to my reflection on how I could then really better this, and how I can empower myself. What were the learning for me? Everything in life is a lesson or a blessing. And, and if it's a lesson, how is it a lesson? What did you learn from it? And that's where our ability to evaluate comes in. What wasn't working, and how and when am I going to try again, with this? Is it that I need to take a couple of days off and then hit it back, and in that rest, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and that will then prepare me mentally for coming back. And build that resilience, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. I think dealing with stuff like confidence and enabling yourself to have that time to reflect, to evaluate, that is just like invaluable, really, isn't it? To not only when you're practicing well-being in your business, but for any area of life. It could be whether it's your relationships, whether it's like work, whether it's art. There's so many things that you can evaluate, and in doing that, I think you're more likely to gain perspective, aren't you, on the situation,
Yeah,
and the way you want to move forward with things.
absolutely, 100%. I think we are so wrapped up, on things that we could have done, that we sometimes use reflection as hindsight rather than actually beneficial to us, and it's in that reflection that we're then able to evaluate and set kind of how we go about it. But it's like resilience. It's a tool that we have to often work on and find ways to manage it and practice that's suitable. And I certainly feel it was one of the reasons I set up my business after having a long career of offering person-centered support and getting the most out of my teams and my clients that I was working with. Person-centered planning and support is essential in everything that I do and we do as a business.
Oh, that's brilliant. Like, that's literally foundational to any kind of business, I feel. The way that you work with your clients, as well as like the way that you're perceiving yourself through your business, it's one and the same, isn't it?
Absolutely. You're definitely an extension of your business, particularly, in your industry of art. And I think, the industry that you're in as well, it's easy for people who do not understand your concept or way of thinking based on ignorance and an openness to understand what you're doing, to be negative or to reflect because it's not visually engaging to them, not understanding the vision of what's being aimed out at, or just having a vision that's left to someone's interpretation.
Yeah, that's the thing with art. When you have like a sense of purpose behind what you're doing, you can shout about that from the rooftops, and it's gonna be able to help other people understand where you're coming from, and be able to connect with people on that deeper level, isn't it? It's the same with like, it's all about gaining that sense of fulfillment truly from what you're doing, and the way that you want to help other people, or the way that you want to serve other people, isn't it? And being able to incorporate well-being through your model into that process. So yeah, I'm so glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, like dealing with confidence, dealing with mindset, and all of those things that come along with it. Like I've struggled with it from day one, but it's gotten easier as my business has gotten like more, as I've developed the business and done the work. But I still need to work on it every day, and it's the same like everybody else. So these steps were really eye-opening to me. So thank you
so much. So welcome. So welcome.
Now you have a training that goes deeper into all of this, with more graduates. So tell us more about that and where they.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have some really exciting things going on in the business at the moment. So our website launches next week, but we have just been accredited by the CPD group. So we will be offering pathways of learning and personal development surrounding resilience training, stress management, and crisis development. So these areas are extremely prevalent, more so now, as mental health services are extremely stretched in the UK, and the aim of these courses for our clients is to offer them techniques of support and that they can initiate themselves in day-to-day life, which bridges the gap from things escalating for them.
Yeah, it's kind of like self-coaching, isn't it? When you learn all these things,
absolutely,
you're able to apply it. So I love how we met. Thank you so much, Naomi.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me on your podcast today.
It's been good, hasn't it? I also really appreciate learning from Naomi, because you have so much value to share, and it's amazing and wonderful to be able to get a bit of an insight as to what you're doing with your business. So promise me this, everyone, that you'll commit to these steps that we've talked about today and actually implement them. I'd love to see you use these steps. It's so powerful, and I can't wait to see you next week. Same time, same place. And thanks again to Naomi. And
thank you for having me.
Catch you next time.